I'm Melanie Johnson along with my co-host Jen Foster. We are both 13-time best-selling authors. We've published over 2,500 books and made all of our authors #1 bestsellers. We own Elite Online Publishing. If you want to become a best-selling author, look us up at eliteonlinepublishing.com. Now, welcome to the podcast that shares secrets from top industry experts that show you how to get lasting success and results. This is the Elite Expert Insider Podcast. Hey everyone, it's Melanie along with Jen. Hey Jen, how you doing?
Hey everyone.
All right, if you have noticed that Amazon sales are blowing up, you're buying more things on Amazon, you're on Amazon a lot more because we're all trapped inside the house. I am dating this podcast because it is during COVID-19. So we have an expert on today who knows all about selling on Amazon, not just selling on Amazon, but running $12 million in annual sales. He has, I think it's either 4 or 5 companies that are 7-figure companies that he's running, and he teaches people how to do this too. So I am super excited to have Dan Ashburn here today. Oh my gosh, we're going to learn so much. Normally we do a 20-minute interview, but this one might run a little longer because he's got a lot of great content. Thanks, Dan. Thanks for coming today.
Thanks, Melanie. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to get going in this.
All the way from UK.
Yeah, all the way from UK. Well, Dan, tell us a little bit how you got started in Amazon and selling and online.
Sure. So I was always that kid growing up that was addicted to sort of the internet and computers. It was only really just getting started back then. While my friends were out playing football, I was the kid making money online. I sold my first website that I built on GeoCities. If anyone remembers what that is, respect. I built my first website when I was 13, and I for a local company and got paid for doing that. And from there, I bounced around like affiliate marketing, did some stuff on eBay where I was buying local containers of A-class returned items and did the whole eBay thing. Did quite well in the affiliate game. Tried various different business models, was flipping websites. But ultimately, didn't really feel like it was a real business. Yes, I was making this cash on the side. And at the same time, my mum took us out to Spain. So I ended up in a bit of a sort of a wrong path in Spain, to be completely honest, exploring most of the insides of the bars out there. So my mum sent me back to the UK. And within a year of trying college and all that sort of stuff, I was in the military. So I was in the military, did Afghanistan, Iraq, did all the whole Middle East piece. And meanwhile, one thing always remained true. I was still doing all this stuff on the internet on the side as more of like a hobby. Yeah. But I was earning more money on the side than I was in my full-time job. My seniors in the military used to hate it because I was there earning 3, 4, 5 times their paycheck on the side and driving nice cars and stuff like that. As this sort of young kid with an attitude that quickly got beaten out of me. But yeah, young kid with an attitude. And I actually went to go for commission in the military, which is an officer rank. And I remember this guy, my boss was called Brad. And he was like, when I went in there, I said, Brad, would you support me in going for commission? He was like, Dan, thank you for your service. You've had great impacts on what you've done. You've done 4 or 5 years service, but you need to go off and do what you're good at and where your passion lies. So I'm very thankful to Brad for that point. So within 6 months, I'm running a digital marketing agency out of my back bedroom. We moved from my back bedroom to my mother-in-law's garage, to a complete floor of offices in central Birmingham here in the UK. And we got to 7 figures in about a year or so, and it was good. It was good. I was enjoying it. We were helping loads of sort of local businesses online, get going with Google, PPC advertising, Facebook advertising in the early days, all that stuff. But I was miserable. I was absolutely miserable because I was a slave to my job. I was working 18 hours a day, sort of grinding to figure all this stuff out and make my clients money, etc. And then the idea of Amazon came along. So about 3, 4 years into that journey, I heard about Amazon through a very popular training program. Sort of took the plunge, took the dive, jumped out to Vegas to the event. And then if we fast forward another sort of 4 or 5 years now, I've been doing this about 10 years professionally. I now operate a Amazon management company, and we're delivering over $1 million a month in sales. Some of that's joint venture relationships, some of it's managed, some of it's our own stuff. It's a combination. I'm helping thousands of people learn how to sell on Amazon and leverage the sort of $280 billion opportunity that Amazon presents. And I'm the co-creator of a program called Amazing Selling Machine and the co-founder of an Amazon sellers mastermind called Titan Network. And this is what the wings you all see behind me. So quite varied. I still own that old digital marketing agency. It's in the dental space. We've sold over, I think, $17 million in Invisalign. I still own that business and we're still very connected to Google and Facebook ads and all that stuff, but predominantly a lot of my time is spent here in the Amazon sort of world. So yeah, that's me. That's my journey.
Wow, that's amazing. I love the story. And I think that's so true for a lot of people today. Kids, they're starting at 13, 10, because they're learning all this background of the internet. Where do you think Amazon is going? So, my son tried to sell things on Amazon. He's like, Mom, it's impossible. It's so hard to get sales. And this was even before COVID. And now it's just blown up even more. So talk about, is there still an opportunity there? How to get started? And where do you see the future of things going? Because of the shift of people's habits now.
Yeah, absolutely. So look, Amazon's not going anywhere. It's growing from strength to strength. It's grown through the last 2 recessions. And with the way that COVID is forcing consumers and everyday people's shopping behaviors, it's only going to grow moving forward. Now, Amazon is fairly competitive, but like anything, and I'm a big believer in this, and this is something you should write down, success lies in the last 10% of effort. But the challenge is, to get to that last 10%, you have to do the 90% of the work first. Mm-hmm. And it's only when you get to that last 10%, you get the clarity, and then clarity plus action equals success. Mm. So to answer the question directly about, is there still an opportunity on Amazon? Well, absolutely, providing you have the exact formula for profit margin, return on investment, how to rank products in less than a week or a week to 2 weeks safely, sustainably, how to correctly distribute or leverage advertising in your business and what that means. Mm-hmm. What happens is people don't really put in the effort or commitment or get that clarity to understand all these different cogs. And whether it's a dental agency, Invisalign, Amazon, I'm a big believer in, you have to first figure out what are the cogs that deliver the results. Then systemize the cogs. And that's how you build a scalable business. Now, as for Amazon and the growth opportunity, absolutely. If you look at the way that COVID's changing our behaviors and our habits as human beings, home working, awareness of sort of self-sanitization or the cleaning type stuff, and just even like my nan, who would normally walk down to the local shop, the high street, and go shopping, now has an Amazon account because she's ordering those items in. So the buyer growth is growing as well. And I don't see that growth curve stopping anytime soon.
Yeah, I love that you talked about the 10%, because a lot of people think, I'm going to sell something on Amazon and I'm just going to make it big, right? It's going to take me a month or a year or whatever, but you have to do that 90% of work. And then the last 10% is really where you get your profit. I love how you explain that. So we actually met at Amazing Silicon in Vegas is where we actually met. And so there they talked a little bit about, having your target audience first. And some of that is part of those cogs you're talking about. So dive into that a little bit on, a lot of people will say, oh, I have this great product I'm going to sell. And then it flops and they wonder, why didn't it work? So talk about that a little bit.
So if we get into sort of the Amazon formula, or the framework as I call it, I've actually got a page in front of me here. I call it the one-page framework. There is, like any business, like anything, any walk of life, 20% of the activity generates 80% of the result, and the rest of it's just noise. The challenge is everyone gets caught up in the noise. They get caught up in bad advice. They're scrolling Facebook groups that are just giving out all this conflicting advice from a point of opinion that's not data driven. So what I've been able to do with the Amazon business, and now I can generate serious amounts of revenue very quickly, but it took me 6 years to get that clarity to be able to do that in 2 weeks. So 6 years of work went into 2 weeks of action taking and generating multiple 6 figures or whatever it is. Yeah. It comes down to a framework. So when it comes to the audience, so I think one thing that the mistake they make with Amazon is, I'm just going to sell a product on Amazon. Being successful on Amazon with FBA in 2020 is not about what product do I sell. It's who do I sell to? Who is my customer? Who am I selling? And then once you've decided who you're selling, whether it's a stay-at-home mom, maybe she's a single mom, she's got 2 kids, what are her needs? Or maybe it's a certain category of cyclist enthusiast who goes out cycling every Saturday. Their needs are much different to the cyclist that's competitive and cycling every day and competing. Defining who the audience is, researching what products are they using stuff like Facebook groups, Instagram hashtags, YouTube channels and videos, looking at the products that are showing up, Craigslist, Reddit, anywhere the conversation is happening, go find the conversation. And then all you do is release a range of products that serve that specific customer. So that's what it means about an audience. It's not just I'm going to sell this widget. It's,
Yeah.
I'm going to sell this widget. This is my customer. This is their pain points, and this is what it solves for them. That's my audience.
Yeah. I love that. And explain FBA for those who don't know what that means.
Yeah, sure. So there's multiple ways of selling on Amazon. You can sell as a merchant, which means it's called FBM, fulfilled by merchant. And essentially you tap into Amazon's existing customer base. And this is what I love about Amazon. It's like going to a pond full of fish and all you've got to do is throw your rod out versus having to spend money on getting your own fish. You're tapping into their fish. So FBM is when you fulfill the product yourself. So you have your own warehousing, maybe you use a third party warehouse to fulfill that item. So Amazon generates the order, you receive the order, your warehouse sends it to the customer. We don't use that model, although we do use it in times where we need to, like now with COVID or there's some overflow. But we use Amazon FBA, which is where we send our inventory directly from China straight to Amazon's warehouses, and they take care of everything for us. They do all the picking, the packing, the customer service, they ship it for you, and then they just charge you a percentage of your sale for doing so. And it also gives you benefits on Amazon. You'll notice anything that is prime status is generally in Amazon's warehouse. They do have some other special programs where you can get that status yourself, but it's for bigger organizations. So yeah, it gives you prime status, which, as we know, there's like 220 million prime members in America or something. It gives you access to those buyers. So that's what FBA means, fulfilled by Amazon.
Awesome. Yeah. So when we see that best Amazon's choice, that means that it's definitely FBA, right?
Yeah, so Amazon's choice is more on like shopping behavior, like demand and popularity, and there's a number of things that go into getting that badge. FBA is, the little prime with a smile under it, which is basically one day shipping, next day shipping, which is not currently active, but that's what prime status means. That comes from FBA.
Awesome.
Cool. So you talked about like these systems that go in place, and it took you 6 years to kind of develop that. Now you have this streamlined system. What are some basics of those strategies? We talked before, you said, it's finding out what you do and then generating what you did to get those results and make a process out of it. Walk us through that this works for any business owner, by the way. Everybody needs this. This is why your business can make it or break it right here.
Absolutely. So what I find in any business, whether it's Amazon FBA, whether you're an influencer on Instagram, whether you're running a digital marketing agency, whether you're a dental office or a publishing house, there is a result that you're trying to generate. There is a result that you're aiming for. And I find what happens with most entrepreneurs, CEOs, leaders of business is in the early days, they will generate that result because they're down in the detail, in the weeds, and they'll believe that they can just systematically continue to generate that result without taking a step back out of the detail and asking themselves, how did we generate that result? And do we believe we can generate that result again? So in the Amazon space, for instance, in the Amazon FBA space, when it comes to product selection, once you figured out who your audience is, that's kind of like the secret to conversion. Once you figured out who your audience is, then you figured out what products they're buying. There's some very specific numbers there that are going to deliver the result. At least a 30% profit margin, so you've got enough money after the sale to actually make money in the business. If you're starting out with a smaller budget or you're tight or you're restricted on cash, at least 150% or 100 to 150% return on investment, so that product is going to return enough cash to invest in the next product. So you could call these KPIs, you could call them metrics, whatever you want to call them. But each area of the business has very specific detail that generates the result. So then it's like keyword research. What are shoppers on Amazon searching when they're looking for the products? And then ranking, how do I get my products in front of them? So you've got to break down the result into the step-by-step cogs that turn the engine to deliver the result. And then your job as the business owner, as the entrepreneur, as the CEO, whatever position you're in, is to build and design that engine to deliver the result. And that's then how you scale. Because ultimately, when time gets hard, like it is right now, those businesses with a proper foundation and engine delivering the result aren't stressing so much because they know what a good product looks like. If they need to pivot into a market, because maybe they were in travel and now they're going to pivot into, say, home office products, they haven't got to try and figure everything out from the beginning because the system is the system. They're just going to plug a different product into the system. So that's kind of how I build these businesses, is build one cog at a time and build the engine.
I love that. Do you mind showing, you showed us in the beginning a little diagram, and I'm sure you have this in one of your groups or your digital training courses, but explain this a little bit.
We're actually getting sites on a brand new training actually that I'm writing at the moment. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, you can see sort of this is like the one-page framework for an Amazon business, the areas of business. Each box here is a different cog in the engine. So you've got stuff like conversion, PPC, ranking, underpinning it all. You've got cash flow management and KPI tracking, because what you don't measure, you can't improve. And if we break this down, it's kind of like a paint by numbers for how to build a successful Amazon business and build 7 figures in revenue and multiple 6 figures in profit very easily.
Awesome. Awesome. Do you want to talk a little bit about, oh, Melanie's muted.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, do you want to talk a little bit about your digital training course that you have coming out?
Yeah, no. So we have Titan Network, titannetwork.com. It's a collective mastermind for Amazon sellers. We believe that together we're stronger. So periodically we release free masterclasses, as we call them. So I'm just gearing up to produce another masterclass that's coming here shortly. So if you went to titannetwork.com, you definitely see that. And that'll be available in a couple of weeks. But it's just a free training, and we're going to talk about this exact thing, because I believe right now, with the uncertainty that's happening in the world right now, if your future is at the mercy of an employer or some sort of government program or furlough program, right now with the attention online, people being forced to shop online, it's the best time to take control of your future. So my objective with this is to show people the blueprint for doing that, the roadmap for doing that, and basically pass on that experience so they don't spend or waste hundreds of thousands of dollars in testing things, or listen to bad advice and waste 3 years of their life never making it work. Like I've done in the past. I mean, I lost $80,000 on a product order from China because I didn't put double corrugated card inside the box between the 2 items, which were salt and pepper shakers. I only put single corrugated card. So in transport, they smashed together, 80 grand down the drain. So very simple stuff like that.
Oh. So what do you think about the future of China now that, I mean, do you think trade is going to affect it? Is it going to be harder to get products out of there? How does that look?
Yeah, so within my operation, we've got 50, 60 agents on the ground across China and across Asia. As part of Titan, we have a sourcing service there. China's fully back online. Now, don't get me wrong, depends on what regions of China, depends on what areas of China. Some are working at 56% capacity, but China's definitely back on. If there's anywhere in the world that's on right now, it's China. Fulfillment and distribution is struggling right now, like FedEx and that, they're having to slow down air freight. Air freight's expensive because there's not many flights. Sea freight seems to be fine. Now, if you think about the future though, so now they're fine, like it's operational, the world is operating, it might take an extra week or something to get a shipment in. But what it is doing for the world is, historically, China's been this Goliath of supply. Most things in your house are probably from China. But what this has forced people to do and brands to do, and there's definitely people are thinking about diversifying sourcing areas. Now, China's always going to be the big boy. No other country like Vietnam, India, Thailand, they can't meet China in their production capability. No one can meet them in the volume that they can produce, how quickly they can produce it, and therefore the pricing they can produce it at. However, brands are definitely now looking towards sort of markets like India, Vietnam, Thailand, and we source from all these markets now for more specialized goods as a way of diversifying and ensuring that we're not in a position where China goes down, the world turns off. Which is kind of what happened for about 3 or 4 weeks. And it was right after Chinese New Year as well. So it was painful for a lot of physical product brand owners. And even now, like a lot of your immune support supplements, even though they're made in the USA or the UK, all the ingredients, the capsules, all that stuff comes from China. So even now there's a supply chain issue because there's a raw materials backlog. So I think to answer your question, I don't think China's going anywhere. I think if anything, they're going to continue to grow, but brands, companies, no matter what trade you're in, if you're sourcing products from somewhere, I think people are going to be looking to diversify just as a risk diversification strategy.
Yeah, and I think that's really important, especially in now, and we've been told this 100 times, don't have all your eggs in one basket, right? Yeah. So you got to diversify, you got to have different sources for sure.
Yeah.
So tell us, go ahead, Melanie.
No, go ahead, Jen.
Well, I was just gonna say, so tell us what you're working on now. Like, is there specifics in your mastermind that you are working on?
Yeah, so a lot of what we've been focused on, we've got a few hundred members as part of Titan Network, and our members are seeing a lot of success because we're passing on that clarity. Titan Network isn't just about me. There's 15 or 16 people like me leading from the front, and then we have multiple tiers of mentors and stuff. But it's all being focused on proactively pivoting the business strategy for what we will believe will happen in the future, especially this Q4. Q4 is a big part of the year for physical product sellers, whether it's Amazon or Shopify or anything like that. So what do we believe the shopping habits are going to be for Q4? Can we base our inventory planning on last year, or is it going to be different this year? We don't want to put loads of cash into stock and then that gets stuck there because we can't sell it. But then we've also been having to fight fires a bit reactively because Amazon, this is how big Amazon is and how much demand there is. Amazon hasn't been able to handle all of the demand for products on its platform. So you may have noticed as a shopper on Amazon that delivery times keep changing. Like one day it says it will come tomorrow, and then the next day you look and it says it's not coming for 3 weeks. And what we believe Amazon have been doing is changing the delivery times based on what's inside of that warehouse. So if you've got hand sanitizer or an essential item in there, it's going to deprioritize maybe a foam roller, for instance. So we've been doing a lot of putting out fires, leading people through that, merging sort of fulfillment warehouses with Amazon warehouses to try and keep people selling. And then also, just assessing the market and saying, right, in this new world, in this post-COVID world, where is the demand? Because I think people get this analysis paralysis and they freeze in fear. But ultimately, those that weather the storm and push through this storm are going to be the ones that come out the other side. I actually have this was 16 years old I was when I got this. And it says, don't wait for the storm to pass, learn to dance in the rain. And it's kind of like Forrest Gump and Captain Dan going out to sea in their fishing boat. Yeah. The point is, when the storm passed, they were already out at sea fishing. So it doesn't matter what market you're in, whether you're in the Amazon space, whether you're in the dental space or publishing, you need to, as a business owner, it's your responsibility to be looking ahead and going, within my objective, within the goal that I'm working for, does my business strategy need to pivot? And if it does, what are the pivots that I need to make and how can I leverage the opportunity? Because although there's a lot of sadness happening right now and it's killing businesses left, right, and center, there is always opportunity in downturn. Where's the opportunity for you and your business in the downturn? And the responsible thing to do is go find it.
Wow. That was awesome. I want to just take that, transcribe it, and make that the first part of your book.
Sounds good to me.
Sounded so good. So, how do we get ourselves together? So if we're businesses like maybe dental companies that are sitting on the sidelines right now, and we touched on this a little bit, you held up that piece of paper. Walk us through that a little bit more, because I think so many things in that piece of paper you held up are great for any business. Those are things that they should be doing now. Like, what can they do to work on their business for systems, processes, advertising, marketing, so they come out of this thing and come out strong on that end? Like, you're working with your dental offices that are sitting idle. My neighbor has a series of dental offices. What can they be doing when their doors open now that they're ready and set to go? And where should they be spending their dollars on advertising?
Great question. And I have a perfect answer, because we're filling people's books right now. And I'll tell you exactly how we're doing it. So whereas this is a framework for an Amazon FBA business, it talks about sourcing, advertising, inventory management. If we talk about Invisalign specifically, for instance, to generate the result, which is an Invisalign case, I first have to generate awareness of the practice, capture a lead for a consultation, get that person to show up at the consultation, show them the potential after state of what they could have if they paid for Invisalign, and then get them to say yes and pay for Invisalign. So if you were to look at those stages as different cogs in the engine, what's changed now that right now people can't go to a dental office? Well, I can still advertise on Facebook. And if anything right now, Facebook's cheaper. They're offering grants for advertising for businesses like dental offices that are affected. And awareness and attention online has doubled. Platforms like Facebook, YouTube, they're struggling with how many people are on them right now because everyone's sat home on the internet service providers. So I can still advertise. I can still send them to a web page that talks about Invisalign, the benefits and why they should check it out and what it's going to do for their life, their impact, and talk. A tip from me from marketing: talk to their internal fear, talk to their inner voice. What are they saying in their head, and answer that. I can still capture that lead. What I can't do is they can't come to my dental office, my practice to have the consultation. But what I could do, because if you think about what happens in that consultation, all we're doing is assessing their teeth and their smile. And as you can see me in 1080p right now, and we're on Zoom, I could jump on a FaceTime, or I could jump into Zoom, or I could jump on Skype, and I could do a virtual consult. So I could do a virtual consultation with that person. And then if I can close them into a deposit on that consultation, so maybe £100 or $100 deposit, something that commits them to that result, the minute my practice is allowed to open, they're going to get priority access to the practice because they're the ones that did the virtual consult, paid the deposit, which means they're financially tied, which is going to double the attendance rate. So while most business practice owners are sat there thinking, well, I can't work, my practice is not open, I'm not making money. All my clients in my dental agency are making plenty of money, or pent up demand, I suppose is what it's called, a pipeline of money. They're getting deposits and they're booking in. So as soon as they're allowed to open, they're going to be full for 3 months because they've already done the groundwork in generating those patients. And if you look at each one of those steps, those are the cogs that deliver the result. And all we've done is just tweaked and pivoted the system. Instead of doing a physical consult, we took it to a virtual.
I love that. And you could put that model into any business, right? You can get a deposit on almost anything. So if you can't open your business right now, you can be doing this exact model.
There's a point there of something called pent up demand. So right now, how much pent up demand is there for going on holiday, for going to the pub and or going to the bar and having a glass of wine, for going out to a restaurant and having some food, for reconnecting with friends and taking them a present because you've realized that you underappreciated your friendship group before. Now you realize that you can get to them. All of this pent up demand is building. How can you leverage that pent up demand? Sell them on the idea of the after state when COVID allows you to service them as a person and really talk to what they're realizing right now, because everyone's got thinking space right now and they're thinking, I want to lose weight. I want to get a nicer smile. I want to sort my teeth out. How do you tap into that? And that's the same for any business. With you guys with the publishing with the books, someone sat there thinking with clarity, I could actually write a book about what I do. So how can we tap into that thought process and then deliver the result post COVID?
Well, for us, you can use that book as a lead generation in the Facebook ad. Like,
Absolutely.
what are the benefits of having Invisalign? How is it better? You can get our free book right here.
Well, we could talk marketing if you want, but I mean, if you can get people to give you money, even if it's $1, they are 36 times more likely to spend money with you because they've exchanged money. It's an exchange of value. So yeah, the book's on the front end of a marketing funnel like that kills it.
That's what we teach our authors to do. Use that book as a marketing and advertising tool. You've got all that content in there. You can give it away. You can send it as a secret weapon to clients to get your foot in the door with your information. So it's really a powerful, powerful tool.
Yeah, positioning. I mean, positioning is everything. Look how I've positioned myself on this call here today, on this podcast here today. Positioning is everything. You understand that I have the clarity to build 7-figure Amazon businesses and have done multiple times. If I told you about an agency that I run that could do it for you, you're going to be much more interested in connecting with me to do that than just listening to another Amazon seller that is running a business on Amazon. So yeah, the book's perfect. It just positions you as that thought leader. I love it.
Love that.
Did you have another question, Jen?
No, I'm good. Go ahead.
Good. Well, tell us where we can find you.
Yeah, sure. So for the Amazon world, check out titannetwork.com, titannetwork.com. If you just want to connect with me as Dan Ashburn, you can go to danashburn.co.uk. Or if you're from the dental world, randomly, check out dominatedental.com, dominatedental.com. That's me.
Awesome. We'll put those links up at the bottom of the YouTube video as well as in the show notes and on our blog post for those of you who are listening.
And I'm going to say, actually, definitely go there, because if he's giving away free content like this on the masterminds, and he does it once a month, twice a month, you need to tap into that. And always keep your eyes open, because people like Dan are giving you information and you may say, oh, well, he's in the dental space. Well, he's selling on Amazon. But you can take those nuggets and use them. I mean, that demonstration that you gave, Dan, about how to sell your business and do all that, that was a step-by-step process that anyone can use for their business. So I'm going to go back, and we are going to transcribe this so we have it all broken down, that step-by-step process. I think that's perfect. And it goes to show one of our new products is how to turn a podcast into a book and a book into a podcast. So this is a perfect example of all this information that you're giving that you can have and just transcend it into a book and use it on social media and other places to get those new leads. So if you're thinking of writing a book, make sure you contact us at Elite Online Publishing, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for coming. Bye.
Thanks. Hey, are you looking to increase your revenue, build credibility, and elevate your brand? This podcast is brought to you by Elite Online Publishing, an innovative publishing and full spectrum marketing company. They will publish and market your book to make it a #1 bestseller. Becoming an author is the best way to market your business. So contact them at eliteonlinepublishing.com today. All of their authors become #1 bestsellers.